Okay, y'all, so let's talk about Yellowjackets Season 3, Episode 8, Croak, and what an episode it was. I'm still recuperating, y'all. Mari's one-liner to Lottie is still in my head when she tells Lottie to go fuck her blood third. Let's just get into this, and we'll talk about that in a bit as well. This was one of those episodes that really has started to put it all together for us, right? The title is Croak, and I theorized that that meant someone was going to die. Of course, someone does die, but it also is pointing towards frogs, which explain everything about the wilderness. But let's get into this wild episode. And like I said before, we do our breakdowns and our recaps of the episode in this video. Next week we'll do theories, but we'll have a little bit of theories at the end here because we've already watched the trailer for the next episode. So this episode starts off by letting us know that the Yellowjackets are indeed not hearing the wilderness. It's not the trees talking to them or some supernatural force. It is just a bunch of frogs mating. That's what the sounds has been this whole time. And the people that come at the last episode to their camp aren't actually bird watchers like I thought and so many others did. They're frog scientists, and they're here to study these frogs that come out every so often to do this big mating event. It is Edwin and Hannah, and they have a sort of forest guide with them called Kodiak, and they are trying to just get as much research as they possibly can. So we quickly see that they get lost at a point and they start to smell barbecue, they say. Actually, Coach Ben barbecue, BBBBQ. Does that make any sense? And they start to follow the scent and they start to hear the girls wailing and screaming, as we remember they did at the end of the last episode. And we see that Edwin, the scientist, he goes up to the camp. Kodiak's not really about going into the camp, but you know what? He's their guide. He has to follow, and they eventually do. And most of the Yellowjackets are shocked but relieved. We're going home, they say. But then out of nowhere, of course, Lottie comes in and just like messes it all up and kills Edwin with an axe. I was pretty surprised by this. So we had seen that Edwin was going to be surprised to see Coach's head right there, but we didn't know what was coming next, and I didn't either. I thought there was going to be a little bit of back and forth talking to one another, right? Misty tries to make it all good by saying, oh, he died of natural causes, talking about Coach. So basically saying like, we should have maybe buried him, but we need to survive, so we ate him. And I wonder how much the scientist and the survival guide would have bought into this and just saved the girls here. But of course, now with Lottie killing one of them, it doesn't seem that that is going to be likely. And what ensues is a chase to try and get Hannah and Kodiak, who have now drifted out into the woods, and the rest of the Yellowjackets follow on. Lottie stays behind and starts eating the brains of Edwin, putting it on her face and all of this, and it is just one of the most horrific imageries there. Mari, Jen, and Melissa stay behind because Melissa actually got shot with an arrow by Kodiak during the whole scuffle, and Shauna tells Mari, if she dies, you die, so make sure she doesn't die. And Mari's just like, oh shit. Shauna's really going off the rails in both timelines here. But let's get to the adult timeline right now for a bit, where we see that Shauna is on the hunt to find out who sent her this tape. As she's listening more in, we realize that this is the tape that Hannah, the scientist, had as she turned it on at the beginning of this episode to record this encounter with the Yellowjacket. And in it, we hear that Hannah actually was pregnant and had a baby, a teenage pregnancy, of course, and she's like giving her final goodbye to her baby in this tape. And Shauna then finds the obituary for Hannah and all of that. So it seems that this person, whoever sent this tape, knows what the Yellowjackets did out there, and now it's kind of being pinpointed that it could be this baby or child that Hannah had all these years later is now coming for retribution towards the Yellowjackets. So if Hannah, I would say, is in university or about to finish university, she may be like 28 or 30, 27, I don't know. And if she did have a teenage pregnancy, then this person that was their child would probably be in their late 30s or early 40s, somewhere around the age bracket that the Yellowjackets are. So now all the signs are pointing that Hilary Swank is indeed this child here, and we see that Shauna is going to find them as she's traced them to Virginia, and she goes there. But we see that Misty comes along, Van and Ty as well, because Misty had just gone to confront Ty and said, hey, I think you were the one that killed Lottie. And Ty's just like, what the hell are you talking about? It wasn't me. I just want to talk to her. Now, we don't really know what this conversation was about just yet, but we see that Van starts to have some speculation about what Ty really is doing. And we already seen it in the previous episodes that she speculates that the evil Ty has taken control of the other Ty here. So a lot of things happening here, but eventually we see the road trip ensue, and nobody pitched in for gas, y'all. Could you imagine that? And even Shauna had to pump her own gas, which I thought was a hilarious bit there. But nobody went halfsies either on the floss picks with Misty. So I don't know. The Yellowjackets aren't on good terms, it seems, here. Now, one of the things that happens during this road trip as well is Walter calls up Misty and says, hey, you know that DNA sample you sent? It matches Shauna's hair that I had as well. I think Shauna is the one that killed Lottie. And Misty starts to have a private conversation through text with Van and Ty while they're in the car with Shauna, saying, I think Shauna's the one that killed Lottie. And there's just a hilarious bit there. But it does get pretty dark though when Van starts coughing out blood and they have to stop at a hospital. And it seems that Van is getting a lot more sicker now, and Ty is starting to think, I should have done that sacrifice. We eventually see, however, that Shauna decides to use this opportunity to get away from all of them, and she heads all the way down to Virginia by herself. Now, in the past timeline, we see that the group split up. One is going to go after Kodiak, one is going to go after Hannah, and we see that Travis and Akila go after Kodiak, eventually cornering him enough with Misty where they're able to get him, and then they are able to ask him, hey, can you take us back with you? Now, Misty's not with Travis and Akila at this moment, however, because Misty drops her glasses, so she's out there looking for them. So hopefully Misty gets her way back home pretty soon. But in the other group, we see that Shauna and Natalie are leading it. They eventually are able to find Hannah, and now they must decide what they're going to do, where we hear Shauna say, we kill her, they're going to come find her, they'll just find us. No witnesses. We can't have no witnesses to what they just saw. And Natalie's like, we can't do that. We just cannot do that. Let's take it back to the group and decide what happens next. While all of this happens as well, we saw that Van and Ty found the campsite. They found the broken phone, and they are deciding that, hey, we do need to get out of here, because Ty says we have more supplies for the village now. But Van's like, no. We have to just get out of here and go back home. Like, there's nothing more to it. We just have to go. We eventually see them go back to the campsite where Melissa, who had the arrow in her, already has it out thanks to Mari and Jen. And Lottie's still with the guys, brains and bloods, chanting and all of this. And then out of nowhere, how long was Lottie down here with this guy? Because she was right there with him when they killed him. It was still dark outside and the sun is out now. So I don't know. Lottie's definitely something else at this point. And even Mari's getting exhausted with it when Lottie tries to say, I'll help y'all with Melissa and all of this, and Mari's like, go fuck your blood dirt, Lottie. I think Mari is definitely done. And Mari always is a character that I just she makes me mad sometimes, but sometimes, you know what, she has these one-liners that are great. So the next episode is called A Normal Boring Life, and we see that Hannah is introduced here as a new member, it seems. They just have her tied up. I think they're wondering what they should do with her, and they're asking her all of these questions. One in particular is, do Mulder and Scully get together, which I thought was just hilarious to ask her right there. But we do see that they're trying to figure out what is the best approach to all of this, and it looks like there's going to be a rift between the Yellowjackets. In particular, we see Shauna and Natalie go at it at a point, Shauna telling her she's not in charge anymore. We know Shauna was put in charge by Lottie, but I do wonder how much more the other group is going to see that as a good thing, especially how Lottie acted in this last episode, very unhinged. We do see also that Jeff is going to start to lose it seems, and that's probably after the conversation he just had with Cal about Cal telling him about the frog scientists and them being in the same vicinity as the Yellowjackets, and those scientists disappeared without a trace. So it makes you wonder what exactly Jeff is going to start to really think about all of this. And I think one of the biggest reveals in this last trailer is, yes, it's finally happening. We've been waiting, and 8 episodes in, Hilary Swank will be appearing here. We don't know who her character is just yet. I'm still going to say it. What if it's Melissa? I don't know. I know in this episode we did hear them say that Melissa and Jen are dead when they're trying to figure out who found this tape, because the tape that Shauna got sent is the night that Lottie killed that man and all of the recording that happened in that moment. So everything we heard in the teenage years is on this tape in this night. And it makes you wonder who could have found this tape, because we do see that Hannah sort of put it together in a pile of rocks and hid it away. They hadn't found it just yet. So it's interesting to note that most of them didn't even know about this tape, and they didn't know that Hannah had a child either, because they never found this tape. So it had to be somebody from the group kept it from them. And one thing I was thinking about when they said that Hannah and Jen and Melissa were pretty close to one another, and they said those are the only two that would have it, and they're both dead, is that Shauna had like a weird face, right? It was kind of like she was just like, I don't know if Melissa's dead, y'all, but I'm not going to say nothing, right? And, it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if indeed this could be Melissa. So, little bit of a theory here going from me right now that I'm gonna try and mold together for a video next week is that maybe Melissa and Jen and Hannah did get close. Maybe Hannah told them that she did have a child, and she told them about the recording she had and all of that. And somewhere down the line, they're gonna kill Hannah for whatever reason it may be. And we're gonna see that Melissa might not like this, and this whole idea that they just killed a mother and now there is a child there without their mother. And I think that leads Melissa to them growing up and eventually deciding that she's going to go find this child and help them out in some way, right? And her death will be faked or whatever. And maybe Shauna knows about this. I just don't know. I just don't know. Because I also wonder why Melissa wouldn't tell Shauna about this. But we'll talk more about that. I'm going to read a little bit more about what the next episode is about, look at the trailer, and find as much information as I can. Probably the other trailers that showcase this season. Maybe there are some scenes in there that haven't made it into the episodes yet, and we can theorize from there. But let me know what you thought about this episode. It just basically ends with Hannah being introduced into the group. We don't see Akila or also Travis come back with Kodiak just yet, but in the trailer, we do see that they are in the wilderness with Kodiak and they get surrounded by the Yellowjackets. So I do wonder if they were trying to plot an escape without any of them, right? It does seem that Travis is pretty much done with all of the things that they are like talking about the wilderness and stuff. And, I think that he just wants to get out of there finally. But adult Shauna is definitely going to go to try and kill Alex or whoever she thinks it is sending the tape. She has a knife and she has the protector for the knife that Melissa had made for her in the teenage years. So there's definitely a lot more connection there as well, that maybe Shauna still has some feelings towards Melissa. And it would definitely be an interesting aspect if we see that Melissa is still alive, right, and not really dead. I just can't buy it that she's dead. I just really do still feel Hilary Swank is Melissa, but if she is not Melissa indeed, then she probably is just Alex, the child of Hannah that Hannah was talking to in that tape. And maybe she found that tape, but how would she find that tape? That's the biggest question I think going on right now, because Misty didn't know about the tape, Ty didn't know about the tape, Van didn't know about the tape, Shauna didn't know about the tape. Could it have been Lottie? I don't know. That's the thing. Why would Lottie even send this? And does that mean that Alex is the one that killed Lottie because she found out it was Lottie that killed her parents? I don't know. It's theories. It's all of that right now. Drop them down below. What do you think happened here and what do you think is happening in the next episode? I'll have a theory video for you on Monday about that. In the meantime, let's comment below our thoughts and opinions. And as always, let me know your thoughts on this episode. I thought it was great. It was really well done, really funny, really dark, really crazy, and just I think what we love about Yellowjackets, right? So very excited for what's coming. We have 3 episodes left before the finale, so stay tuned for that, and very excited to talk more Yellowjackets with y'all. So make sure you drop your theories down below. I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.